Good morning. It's what's in my teacup for October 21st. And today I'm talking about herbs in my teacup that I blended together this morning, focusing on some anti-inflammatory herbs. I have a bit of a bad hip slash low back, so I need some anti-inflammatory herbs. Been using some salves to put on there externally, and now I want something internally. So I'll be talking about that soon and announcing a new free webinar that I'm doing in November. So first I'm going to show you the teacup and the tea saucer. They don't actually match today, but they're pretty close. So when I got this tea collection from an auction from a antique store that was going out of business, actually downsizing. I got this big collection. I didn't really get to choose because at an auction you kind of get whatever's in the box. So some things had matching sets and some things didn't. So here is the saucer. Let's see if hopefully you're in focus here. So I'm going to turn it around a little bit because it's kind of upside down. It looks like some bluish flowers, maybe like I don't know, almost looks like blueberries. And then of course a rose, there's always roses. And then there's a circle around the saucer with what looks to be like rosebuds or something. The edge of the saucer is, I don't know what the word is, scalloped. It's not straight. It's kind of wavy. And then the back of it does have a mark. Some people like to see the mark on the back. It does indicate something about it. I think these are fairly old, maybe about 100 years old. But I'm getting a book that will tell me what the marks are. So that's the saucer. They usually match, but this one doesn't too much because they both have the pink colors. Actually, around the rim is that gold or is that pink luster, as they call it? And here's the teacup. Let's see if I can get that there. The camera has just adjusted itself. So kind of similar colors. I'm moving the cup back and forth because I want you to see the shininess of those leaves. They're actually like a pink, and it's called pink luster. They shimmer like, let's see, I'm turning the cup, and now that one looks a bit like, trying to get the camera to focus, maybe a pansy almost, kind of like that. There we go. It's in focus now. The camera is kind of confused sometimes. And those three yellow flowers with the pink luster on it. The bottom does have a mark on it as well, a different mark than the saucer. I don't even know what that is. A cursive A maybe, I don't know. And in the inside, there's some of the pattern is in there as well. So that's the patterns today. Again, they don't really match, but they kind of do. Got a lot of the pink luster going on in there. Oh, and then the handle. I love the handles when they're not just, like a round one. So this is pretty common for like the early 1800s, 1830s is what I've been finding a little bit. I'm learning a little bit as we go. So that's a fun little, it's, you can't get your finger in there too well. So you kind of have to hold it. I don't know. It's kind of a little awkward there. So there we are. Hello, Ellie and Laura. I see you here with me in Facebook and YouTube. And so here is the tea I made today, the herbal infusion / herbal tisane. You can call them all those things. It's a little shiny here on my glass container, my glass carafe. You can see those herbs on the bottom where the plunger is, and then it's actually like a light pink color there. So I'm going to pour myself some. I haven't even tasted this little blend I made. I just made the blend here you see in the carafe. I got about 4 different jars up in my kitchen from my apothecary and then put them together. And that is good. That's very good. So what I have here is, for flavor, I added in some dehydrated strawberries that I picked this summer. And then I added Tulsi basil and Moldavian mint and some shiso. So I thought, oh, what would be good for my hip and my low back? It kind of feels like I threw out my back, but not that bad, right? Something is going on. I bent down to look in somebody else's cat crate to see their cat because I was at the vet, and I stood back up and I was like, "Okay, I think I just threw something out." I can still walk, so that's good. The Moldavian mint is an anti-inflammatory, as well as the Tulsi basil. Well, Tulsi basil seems to be for everything, right? It's also called holy basil. There's many different kinds of Tulsi basil, like, Vana is one, and there's 3 other ones that we grew in the shared herbal garden this year, and they all have a little bit of a different flavor to them, and, I don't know which one I have because, I harvested many of them, and I don't think I labeled my jars just right, but it's Tulsi basil, and it's really good. I always describe it as like a Fruit Loop flavor. I don't know, I think I'm the only one who thinks of Fruit Loops when I smell Tulsi basil. But yeah, so the color in here most likely comes from the purple shiso that I have. Shiso is also called perella. So, but I have the purple one. And as far as I know, with the purple shiso, it's like a warming. And we call herbs cooling or warming, and Tulsi basil feels warming to me, which is what I really want on my low back and my hip that hurts right now. So Tulsi basil and Moldavian mint is the anti-inflammatory. All herbs have some sort of anti-inflammatory component into them. Mostly, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and antimicrobial. There is one or more of those components in most of the medicinal herbs. You'll rarely find an herb that doesn't say that. Some of them are more anti-inflammatory than the others, but they all seem to have 3 of those components in them. So yeah, there it is. It does taste very good, and I'm gonna actually let this one steep until I drink it all, because some of the herbs that I steep, I can only steep them for a little bit, and then the bitter constituents start to come out, and I don't always want that. And this one is, I especially with the dehydrated strawberries in there, those flavors will probably come out more and more. So yeah, it's like a minty flavor, of course, with the Moldavian mint, and I can taste the Tulsi basil. Not a little bit of the strawberry in there, and I don't taste this shiso so much right now. It's mostly mint, Tulsi basil, strawberries, kind of goes in that order. So let's see. Comment here. Somebody says they have Tulsi, rose petals, and cinnamon tea this morning. Oh, that would be a great combination as well. And somebody else says it's not easy getting Tulsi basil here. May have to grow it myself. Yeah, Tulsi basil, it's fairly easy to grow. I have never started it from seed, but I know some other people in the shared herbal garden do, and it sounds like it's fairly easy. And yeah, it grows well in containers and in gardens, and usually one plant produces quite a bit. And once they start flowering, I start picking off the flowers because there's lots of flavor in there, even before they get to open. And then the leaves is what I want to. And some of the different kinds of Tulsi basil have bigger leaves than others, so that's something to keep in mind. And so I will pick the stem too, and if I can break that up in my jar, I will. Sometimes I remove stems because they're not always easy to put in containers for tea. You really have to break them up, and it takes a while. But sometimes I keep those too if I want that flavor, if I don't have enough leaf or flower material. So yeah, Tulsi basil, also called holy basil, and I definitely see it sold in tea bag form in the grocery stores and supermarkets, the health food stores. It's fairly well known right now. It's just really, really tasty as well. So really good health benefits for it. So yeah, it's very, very tasty today. Let's see here. Then what's coming up here for Full Circle Herbals? So I'll still have the Grow Your Apothecary monthly plant lessons. You can still get into that. That is still open for people to come in. and next month's herb has not been released yet, but we just are in the Monarda one. I just gave that lesson to people. And Grow Your Apothecary has a sliding scale payment option for a monthly subscription. And the new webinar, the webinar that's coming up in November is called, this is the new announcement. I haven't announced it anywhere yet. It is called Learn Herbal Wisdom with the Archetypes, Liberating Your Witch, Priestess, and Healer. So it's going to be a free webinar at November 16th, and it will be live. And then there'll be the option to join in for an additional 3 days for $13, an additional 13 days for the Learn Herbal Wisdom with the Archetypes. So I'll be sending that information out in my email list, of course, in social media. So be on the lookout for that coming. That link will probably be coming next week. But I wanted to give you all a save the date for the 16th of November. And there will be a replay available for a limited time too. So all those details will be coming out soon. And the archetypes are really fun and I think powerful to work with. I do have my Herbal Pathways Archetype free quiz that you can take and get a little free report about what your archetype is, what archetype is being represented on your herbal pathway right now. So you can find that on my FullCircleHerbals.com website. It's there and it's floating in social media too, those links. So yeah, the webinar will help us deepen into what these archetypes are about and why it's important to work with them and know about them if you are on an herbal pathway of types. It's something that I've been working with for almost a year now. I've been working with the 13 Moon Mystery School archetypes, and each we go through them each moon cycle. We go through another one, and that's been a real powerful way for me to connect to different aspects of myself with my sacred biz work here with Full Circle Herbals with my family. And the archetypes are also show up in the herbal pathway, and those archetypes I have been working with, all of my life, and now I've kind of put a name to them and want to share that with other people to help deepen into their herbal pathway. And I know sometimes people like, I want to learn about herbs, I want to use herbs, but I just kind of don't know how to keep my momentum going and things like that. And so this webinar will share that. So yeah. All right. So yes, that's coming up. The information is coming out. I do have an email list you can sign up for. In the header of the Facebook page right now, Full Circle Herbals, there is a link for how to sign up through that email to get notifications of what's coming up. I also send out each week, I send out kind of like a little update on things that I'm doing in the garden or plant priestessing, things that are coming up for me, or just talking about some herbs. So sometimes that stuff doesn't get out into social media. And if you're like me and don't scroll social media, as you're not on Facebook, maybe on your phone, or you're taking a break from social media, or you'd rather, get updates through your email, this email list is a great way to make sure you're getting those updates. The algorithms and the codes for social media don't always show you what you want. They're kind of choosing and picking what's most popular. So I understand that people might not even see things that are popping up I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and right now I'm trying out TikTok. TikTok's kind of fun too, but sometimes those things are not showing us everything. But an email is a little bit, more direct. Sometimes our email's getting put into spam too, which is not helpful. They're also starting to sort my email, and I'm not really happy about that. Yeah. So you would love to know who your mentor is in the 13 Moon Mystery School. That's a question here. And my mentor is Elaine Kalila Dowdy. She has Priestess Presence is the name of her of the business of the temple. And right now she's actually enrolling for many of her programs right now. And the priestesses that she has in her temple are also they're starting to tell you what's happening, what's coming up starting in January. So Enter the Mystery is what I'm in right now. That starts again in January. And these programs she has, they start and run for 12 months, 13 moons, and then they start over. So you have to get in. You can't get in mid cycle. So right now I know she has Enter the Mystery starting, and there's different like levels of it. Once you do one, then there's other ones. There's some what else does she have? Some new ones coming out that I don't have the titles for because some of them they're new. Rebecca's doing one about the snake priestess. Flora's doing the one about all the tools of the different 13 archetypes. And then there's also like one-to-one opportunities to work with her. And I did get to go meet her and my cohort of another program I was in with her in March. And I wrote about that on my blog. There's a 3-part blog called Plant Priestessing, and my experience going to and being in a priestess temple for 3 days with Elaine in Southern California and all the other participants that were there. It was really amazing. Loved it so much. Yes, she is amazing. And the Magdalenes, yes, she does do work with the faces of Mary Magdalene. She does that too. Oh, and you're one of Flora's Pillar Sisters. That's amazing. Yes, awesome. That's so fun when I weave into, bump into people that know Elaine and the priestesses and them. So yes, Michelle, I actually got to meet Flora at the temple, and it was amazing. We are all, some of us are still connected even after the temple was done and that particular temple guide training was over. But Enter the Mystery has been amazing. So I loved working with the archetypes. It can be a little bit difficult to explain what that's like. We do temples online for about an hour to hour and a half, and twice a month to work with these archetypes and different aspects of them. We're in the Dreamer Weaver right now, which is lovely. We just finished up with the Wise Woman. Yeah, it's huge. That sure is, Michelle. So it's an amazing experience, and definitely bringing a lot of what I've learned and experienced into this new webinar I'm going to do about the witch, the healer, and the priestess, and how they also are on the herbal pathway, and what that looks like on the herbal pathway. If you've taken the quiz, you know that you're going to there's 3 of them. So on the herbal pathway, it's the green witch, the herbal healer, and the plant priestess. And I noticed that one of the 3 really show up for people on the herbal pathway. Of course, they blend into each other, and you can't put them in a box. And one of them seems to kind of show up more at different times, in different stages of my herbal pathway as well. So I love working with them. I am them. You can work with the archetype and you can be them at the same time. So you just really have to experience it. So I encourage you to save the date, November 16th date. All the details are coming out. So, all right, everybody, thanks for joining me on What's in My Teacup. Next week, I'll be back here, probably not as early. I had to schedule these fairly early this week and last week because of my other things going on in my schedule. So again, I'll put those details out. I do, excuse me, in my emails, I do put the link to the Facebook event of this, so you can have Facebook give you a reminder. And I also usually send out the link to the replays too, so that you don't have to go searching for them. So try to help you out to find everything here in this virtual world. And so thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.